Could Luka Doncic consider joining the New York Knicks? After a recent social media exchange between Luka and a current Knicks star, the Knicks community has been buzzing and thinking about what it would take to get Luka in the Big Apple. Zach LaVine is also making headlines as he was recently on a podcast and he was asked when is he going to be joining the New York Knicks. We're going to be discussing all of this and more today. But before we get started, guys, about 86% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you like content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. Luka may be considering joining the New York Knicks. Now, this all started due to a social media exchange between Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson. Now, this is a social media exchange that's in question and what caused social media, Knicks Twitter especially, to go abuzz and to go ablaze. Once this came out, they couldn't stop talking about it and couldn't stop talking about potential trade scenarios to get Luka to the Garden. Here's the exchange. Jalen Brunson said, "I got time, talk to me." Then a fan reached out and said, "You miss Luka." And then Jalen Brunson said, "You see my boy put a ring on it?" And then he tagged Luka. And then Luka came back and responded, "You still didn't answer the question." The question being, do you miss Luka? Now, because of that exchange, you can clearly see these guys are friends. They might be best friends, given the type of energy and exchange that you see from them on social media, but also when they were playing together and in the locker room and during post games and press conferences, you could see them. You could see how happy that they were and how happy they were to be together and be playing with each other. I think that means something. And I think you saw once Jalen Brunson left, it affected Luka. I think Luka said during a number of press conferences that Jalen Brunson not being part of the Dallas Mavericks is different. And he does miss him and miss his production and his play. Because I think even he can acknowledge that playing with Brunson made the game easier. Because that's the type of talent that Jalen Brunson is. So when the Knicks community saw this specific exchange between Luka and Jalen, it automatically started the daydreaming of Luka to the Knicks. And look, listen, I think it's awesome to see that Jalen Brunson has good relationships with stars around the league, especially a super mega star in Luka Doncic. To have a friend like that who misses you, who wants to play with you, who clearly still has love for you, I think that matters. And connections like that matter. Now, maybe the connections don't matter now. Because as of right now, Luka's locked into a deal, I believe, till 2027. Although I think he has a player option for 2026, 2027. So he can go into free agency that year. So you never know. We are a few years away from it. But never say no when a connection is there for the New York Knicks. Because I'm telling you now, if the Knicks can, they absolutely will exploit that connection between Jalen Brunson and Luka if Luka is available and can come to the Garden. Because I promise you, there's not going to be anything more box office than Luka in MSG. Luka with that New York Knicks shirt on. Luka with that jersey on. It's going to mean something. It's going to hit differently. It always hits differently when we're talking about the Knicks and, of course, talking about Madison Square Garden. Let's take a look at what Luka Doncic did this past season. He averaged 32.4 points, 8.6 rebounds, 8 assists in 66 games, and he was selected to play in his 4th All-Star game. He shot 49% from the field and 34.2% from 3. Now, obviously, I'd like to see that three-point shooting get a little bit better and get a little bit higher, maybe 37 to 38% to start out with. And if he can do even better than that, count your blessings because he might be unstoppable if he can shoot the three consistently at a clip higher than 38%. Let me tell you that. But if he can just get his percentage up to 38, he'll be more of a threat from there than he is now. And that's saying something. But you saw those numbers. You saw the All-Star selection. Luka is magic. He is almost always in the running for MVP every single season that he plays. Sometimes he comes into the season out of shape, and he still manages to end the season being in conversation for MVP. That in itself is impressive and amazing. Some people say he doesn't play defense. Okay. Some people say he holds the ball too long. Okay. Some people say he looks for his shot a little bit too much and doesn't pass the ball enough. In 66 games, he averaged 8 assists. So it's not like the man doesn't pass the ball. He does. And sometimes his passes look beautiful. So I don't want to hear none of this. I don't want to trade for him. I don't like him. He's not this. He's not that. He is so young to be considered and to be part of these conversations. Where is Luka going to be in 4 to 5 years? That's the scary question. Because if he can get more polished and better than he is now, which everybody believes he will, he could be, and probably will be at that point in time, the face of the league. And if Luka is even remotely considering joining the New York Knicks, you have to explore that as much as possible to see if you can swing that trade and get Luka to the Knicks, because that would be a mega superstar type of trade. I don't even know what it would cost. It would probably cost a lot because Luka likely is one of the top players in the league right now. So when you trade for a top player in the league, the asset haul for that is going to be huge. So yesterday, I posted a picture of Luka and Jalen Brunson together. And I asked you guys to give me some comments on what you thought about adding Luka to the Knicks. And here are some of those comments. So Eric tells me we would definitely be title contenders. Luka, Brunson, Grimes, Mitch, IQ, Dante, Hart, McBride. I don't know about NBA Finals contenders, but we would definitely be Eastern Conference Finals contenders. I definitely agree with that. Let's go over to the next comment. So this is from TV. TV says, I don't think he compliments Brunson like a true wing. Luka is too ball dominant to me. I believe that's why Brunson really left. Well, you know what? That's a good theory. But TV, listen to this. I heard a lot of reports, and there are reports out there, you can go read them, that Brunson was ready to sign an extension with the Dallas Mavericks, but the Mavericks didn't extend him. And the reason for that was they were star hunting. They were looking for other pieces they could potentially add to the Mavericks to support Brunson and support Luka. And they didn't know how good Brunson was going to be. Now, clearly, they thought they could retain Brunson in the offseason, and that was a very bad move because obviously he's part of the New York Knicks and not part of the Dallas Mavericks. But that's the risk you take with players like this. You either are going to pay them or they're going to walk and go to another team, and they might turn into something special if they do that. Thanks for your comment. This next comment is from Coach. Coach says, I never thought of this. Randall gets to go home. Add picks and young players. Yeah, I can see Dallas and Randall having that connection, so maybe it makes sense in that regard. But I can't see a package of Julius Randle or a trade package centered around Randall getting a Luka trade done. That wouldn't make sense to me. Would I like to see it? Absolutely. If you're telling me all it would take to get Luka is Randall, I'm taking that trade every day. You have no idea. That's addition by subtraction, and then you added one of the best players in the NBA. Boom. All right, these are some of the other comments that we had as well, too. Thank you guys so much for commenting and showing your love and support. Really appreciate that. And this was the image that I posted as well, too, that I created to kind of show my love and support for these two. And these are some of the other comments that we had. So Joe says, I'm on board. Chris says, Luka does not play defense and needs too many shots. Yikes. Somer says, no, he don't play D. Jack says, hell no. And Antonio says, definitely not. You know, the funniest thing about this is I didn't expect to see so many no's. You guys know it's for Luka, right? Luka Doncic, likely the next face of the NBA. I don't understand how we're saying no to Luka. Because for everything that you can criticize about him, I can tell you 5 things that he does well, efficient, and so good and will likely get better in as he gets older that other players right now, even in their prime, can't do. That's how good Luka is. That's why you have to consider everything he gives you and not some of the small things that he hurts you with. As of right now, Luka to the Knicks is more of a dream than a reality. Zach LaVine apparently mentioned Spider Mitchell when he was asked about the New York Knicks when he was on a recent podcast. So on this podcast, before they were ending it, it's a very short clip that we're going to roll in a second. They asked Zach LaVine what was his feelings about playing for the New York Knicks. And he almost ran away from the question. But before he did, he answered by saying Donovan Mitchell. Roll that clip so you guys can hear what I'm talking about.
I gotta ask, when are you demanding a trade to the Knicks?
Talk to Donovan.
Talk to Donovan. This is more now about Donovan Mitchell than it is about Zach LaVine. It started about Zach LaVine, but the fact that he mentioned Donovan Mitchell after the host asked him, when are you going to force a trade to the New York Knicks? That was something very telling. I'm not sure if those guys are boys, those guys are friends, their family, whatever the case may be. But it's very interesting to note that he didn't answer for himself, and he kind of technically ran away from the question. He didn't want to answer it. And I think we all know why. Reports have indicated for weeks that his clientele with Clutch does not want him joining the New York Knicks. That's likely why he had that answer. But, like I said before, once he answered with the name Donovan Mitchell, it shifted everything from him to Donovan, which I think that's exactly what he wanted to do. But it does point to something. Everyone around the league is watching. Watching what you say, what you do, what you tweet, and what you post. And you don't know who. But it's clear that everybody around the league knows that Donovan Mitchell wants to be a New York Knick. And the people that should be listening to this particular podcast the most right now is Cleveland. Listen up, Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell needs to have success in his life to be happy in a place he doesn't want to be. He wants to be in New York. Unfortunately, he's in Cleveland. So you better make him happy by winning. Because if you get eliminated again by the Knicks or a team that you're supposed to beat but don't, it's likely that Donovan will not be a Cavalier for much longer. It's so funny how he went from Zach LaVine over to Donovan Mitchell. Because at the end of the day, Zach LaVine I don't think is realistic. I think we all know that now because of the Clutch connection. But Donovan Mitchell, he is absolutely, and when it comes to the Knicks, will always be realistic. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below. Smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.